Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we explore The Fine Art of Small Talk by Debra Fine. This insightful book provides practical advice on mastering conversation skills with ease and confidence. Using engaging personal anecdotes, Debra Fine shares simple methods for initiating conversations, keeping them lively and comfortable, as well as how to gracefully bring them to an end. Debra Fine is a best-selling author, respected keynote speaker, and communications expert. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, her impressive client list includes Google, Credit Suisse, and Procter & Gamble. She has also appeared on CNN, The Today Show, and NPR's Morning Edition, and is a regular contributor to HuffPost. The Fine Art of Small Talk is perfect for professionals aiming to improve their networking and conversational abilities, introverts wanting to build confidence in social situations, and parents seeking stronger, more meaningful connections with their children. Join us as we discover the keys to enjoyable and stress-free small talk. The Fine Art of Small Talk: How to Start a Conversation, Keep It Going, Build Networking Skills, and Leave a Positive Impression. Introduction. Small talk isn't trivial. It's your secret weapon for thriving, personally and professionally. Ever stood silently in an elevator, desperately avoiding eye contact with your coworker? Or nervously shuffled your feet while waiting for your turn at a parent-teacher conference? You're certainly not alone. For many of us, small talk feels like a meaningless hurdle, or even worse, an anxiety-inducing challenge. But here's a surprising truth. Small talk is far more powerful than we often realize. It builds bridges, creates lasting connections, and opens doors to better friendships, career opportunities, and even romance. Unfortunately, small talk tends to get a bad rap. Dismissed by some as superficial chatter, while dreaded by others as intimidating and awkward. But consider this: every successful relationship, whether personal or professional, begins with a simple conversation. So why not master the skill of making these interactions easier, more authentic, and even enjoyable? Maybe you're naturally reserved, and the very thought of speaking to strangers creates butterflies in your stomach. Or perhaps you're already comfortable reaching out, but you're seeking to take your conversational prowess to a whole new level. Wherever you land on that spectrum, you'll discover practical strategies for sparking engaging conversations, gracefully exiting encounters, and positioning yourself as a confident, competent leader. Imagine confidently launching into a conversation with a total stranger, effortlessly navigating pauses, and gracefully bidding farewell when the time comes. The good news is that this isn't just wishful thinking. There are dependable icebreakers and thoughtful conversation techniques that anyone, yes, anyone, can use to turn casual exchanges into meaningful connections. By mastering small talk, you'll not only enhance your interpersonal skills, you'll unlock untold opportunities that could otherwise have remained beyond your reach. Are you ready to become a confident conversationalist, capable of transforming everyday moments into opportunities for real connection and lasting success? Let's explore how to make small talk your greatest asset. Part 1. No one's born a master conversationalist. Great small talk is a skill anyone can develop. Have you ever assumed that some people are just born with a natural talent for conversation, while the rest of us are destined to fumble awkwardly through social exchanges forever? You're not alone. A lot of us think small talk is just an innate ability, something you're either born with or you're not. But here's an encouraging truth. Engaging in smooth, enjoyable small talk isn't a genetic gift. It's simply a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and perfected. For many years, the author felt painfully awkward in social situations. Quiet and shy since childhood, overweight, introverted, and devoted to books rather than conversation. She chose a career in engineering specifically because it promised limited social interaction. Whenever she had to attend a meeting or conference, anxiety would take hold, sending her into a panic. Conversations rarely blossomed. Instead, they shriveled quickly into uncomfortable silences. She usually defaulted to the same, tired questions about people's jobs, ultimately leaving both sides wishing the moment would end. However, around her 40th birthday, she experienced a profound turning point. Facing the emotions from her recent divorce and dealing with lingering self esteem issues stemming from her appearance, she recognized that her insecurities were holding her back, both socially and professionally. Determined to change, she first tackled her health, ultimately losing 65 pounds. Then, poised to fully transform her life, she decided it was time to address her conversational limitations too. She began actively observing confident conversationalists around her. She paid attention to how they started conversations, what questions they asked, and even how they ended conversations gracefully. One evening, while out with a friend, she summoned all her courage to approach an attractive man named Rex, who'd exchanged brief eye contact from across the bar but hadn't taken the first step himself. Amazingly, that simple interaction evolved into a rewarding friendship. Later, Rex confided that the reason he hadn't approached her first was because he himself had been too shy. This revelation sparked a powerful realization. Countless wonderful friendships, crucial professional ties, or even romantic relationships may never unfold if we wait passively in the shadows. By taking the initiative to start a conversation, we give ourselves permission to step outside our comfort zones and uncover incredible opportunities that might otherwise be missed. Inspired and invigorated by this insight, she set out not only to perfect her own small talk, but also to help others overcome their conversational fears. She founded her own thriving business, The Fine Art of Small Talk, providing thousands with simple, actionable advice to build their own confidence and conversational skills. If you've ever felt intimidated by casual conversation or assumed it's beyond your grasp, think again. With practice and perseverance, this skill can absolutely be yours too. Follow along as we explore proven techniques for initiating conversations, sustaining them gracefully, and unlocking deeper connections through small talk. Part 2. If you're waiting for others to start conversations, you're missing out. Here's why. When you enter a crowded room or sit around a conference table, do you find yourself quietly hoping someone else will initiate a conversation? Maybe you worry that your attempts will fall flat, or that approaching someone new could lead to awkward rejection. But here's a little known fact. This fear isn't rare. In fact, after speaking in public, the biggest social anxiety people struggle with is simply striking up a conversation with strangers. But waiting passively, hoping others will take the lead, can mean losing out on countless meaningful connections. It's up to you to step forward, show courage, and open the door to new conversations. While this might feel intimidating at first, once you embrace initiating conversation, you unlock a world of rewarding social interactions and important opportunities. The biggest obstacle, of course, is overcoming your anxiety about rejection. But here's some good news. The vast majority of people genuinely appreciate it when someone else approaches first. Think about it. There's bound to be someone else in the room who also feels uncomfortable or shy. Simply by breaking the ice, you've made things easier for them too. When deciding whom to approach first, seek out individuals who seem approachable. Someone sitting alone, scrolling through their phone for lack of company, or someone you've already exchanged glances with. Establishing warmth is easier than you think. Start by making relaxed eye contact and giving a sincere smile. Often, the gesture alone is enough to prompt an invitation for conversation. Next, remember the simple power of an introduction. Confidently extend your hand and say something straightforward. Hi, I'm Tracy. It's great to meet you. This easy starting point invites others to reciprocate. Your gesture sets the tone for a friendly, relaxed interaction. Of course, sometimes you might find yourself needing to engage not just one person, but a group. Approaching a circle of people already chatting can feel daunting, yet it's entirely manageable once you know how. From a comfortable distance, show you're paying attention and interested in the group's discussion by making eye contact or smiling at the speaker. Most likely, they'll sense your interest and subtly include you. Once you're part of the conversation, Take your time and casually join in without dominating at first. Allow the group to warm to your presence before you begin expressing stronger viewpoints. Ignoring the opportunity to introduce yourself can inadvertently send a negative message. The author learned this the hard way through an experience with Bob, a senior vice president she'd noticed repeatedly at professional events. His clear self-confidence was intimidating, so she avoided approaching him each time. But later, when she started a new career in sales and finally connected with him professionally, Bob rejected her pitch outright, explaining frankly that he thought she came across as aloof for intentionally ignoring him previously. From then on, she knew never to underestimate the value of greeting someone new. Taking the initiative can help you build a genuine connection and avoid making unintended impressions of arrogance or indifference. Remember, when it comes to starting a conversation, the effort you put forward doesn't just reveal your confidence, it makes yourself and others feel valued. So don't wait around hoping someone else will speak first. Step forward, introduce yourself, and watch the doors to fascinating conversations and valuable relationships swing wide open. Part 3. Master memorable conversations by remembering names and preparing thoughtful icebreakers. Think about a recent enjoyable conversation you had with someone you'd just met, one that seemed to flow effortlessly. Chances are that ease didn't simply materialize by chance. Expert conversationalists know something most people overlook. They actively assume responsibility for guiding interactions, ensuring everyone involved feels comfortable and engaged. And here's the good news. You don't need a naturally outgoing personality to achieve this. You just need a couple of simple, strategic tools. First up, take on the role of the host, whether you're formally hosting or not. Much like a considerate host at a party, your first crucial task is learning and remembering people's names. When you're introduced, make a point of repeating their name back clearly and warmly. If they don't immediately offer their name, ask directly, emphasizing your genuine interest. I'm Sarah. What's your name? Then, throughout the conversation, gently incorporate their name again. Not only does this help cement the person's identity in your mind, but it subtly communicates that you genuinely value their company. Even better, as other newcomers join a gathering, go a step further and take the initiative to introduce the group members you've recently met. The author once embraced this approach at an event by learning the names of just a few attendees sitting near her. When additional guests arrived, she warmly introduced herself and then presented the earlier arrivals by name. The result? She quickly became seen as the group's unofficial leader, effortlessly promoting a welcoming atmosphere where everyone felt at ease. Next, take control of steering the discussion by preparing engaging icebreakers ahead of time. Many people default to generic and rather uninspiring questions like, "What do you do?" Unfortunately, responses to this question often fade after a few sentences, leaving the conversation feeling flat or impersonal. Instead, think creatively about your questions, aiming for thoughtful inquiries that inspire curiosity and deeper discussion. For instance, if you're mingling at a professional gathering, instead of merely asking people's job titles, you might try, "So, how did you get interested in this kind of work?" At social events, you can spark a conversation by inquiring about personal interests or passions. What's something you love to do when you're not working? Unusual questions or intriguing curiosities can also boost engagement and help people relax, like asking something playful that everyone has an opinion on. A fascinating example comes from a TV news segment where a reporter went undercover at a large party. His opening line was simply, "What's your zodiac sign?" Surprisingly, conversation immediately flourished, setting a comfortable atmosphere and establishing an immediate bond. While you don't need to go quite that bold, the concept is clear. You engage best when your icebreakers reflect authenticity, genuine interest, and a comfortable conversational spirit. Remember, taking on the responsibility of guiding a conversation might initially feel challenging, but it's undeniably rewarding. By learning people's names and preparing enjoyable and thoughtful topics in advance, You'll make others feel valued and create memorable connections. So next time you're at a gathering, step confidently into the role of conversational host. You'll be amazed by how quickly others gravitate toward your easygoing, friendly presence. Part 4. Transform dull conversations into engaging exchanges by asking open-ended questions. Have you ever noticed how many conversations start and end the same way? One person asks, "How was your weekend?" And the other answers automatically, "Fine, thanks. Yours?" Conversations like these seem polite enough, but they're rarely meaningful, just empty exchanges that don't lead anywhere deeper. So, how do we break through this mundane pattern and transform routine chatter into rich, engaging interactions? It's simple. Replace standard, closed questions with open ended questions, ones that invite detailed responses, generate genuine interest, and encourage authentic connections. When you ask open ended questions, you're clearly signaling your interest in the other person's thoughts and experiences. Instead of brief, shallow replies, you're more likely to receive an insightful, sincere response, the kind of response that can help you truly get to know someone. Imagine you greet your child after school with a simple, "How was school today?" Most kids answer automatically with a single word response like, "Good," and that's where conversations typically end. Until, of course, you dig a little deeper. You might say something more specific like, "What was the most interesting thing you learned today?" Or perhaps you ask, "Which class did you enjoy most? Why?" These open ended questions invite your child to share details about their feelings, experiences, and even new friendships. In short, they allow you to truly connect. The same principle applies when you're on the receiving end. Suppose your colleague asks the usual, "How was your weekend?" rather than quickly responding, "Good, thanks." Take this opportunity to model the kind of interaction you'd like to have. Offer an anecdote or share an enjoyable activity from the weekend. "Actually, we went hiking and discovered a fantastic trail nearby. Have you ever been there?" This subtly demonstrates how to engage in deeper conversations, encouraging your colleagues to do the same. Conversations become more satisfying when both sides commit to genuine interaction. Of course, it's equally vital to be mindful of context. While open ended questions are powerful, you should always pay attention to the signals your conversation partner provides. If you sense that someone prefers not to discuss their personal life, perhaps they steer your casual question back to professional topics, instead of pushing further, gracefully follow their lead. Learning when to engage and when to hold back is an essential part of becoming a skilled conversationalist. So, next time you find yourself stuck in an automated routine of small talk, intentionally swap out shallow queries for more meaningful, open ended questions. Ask people how they felt during a particular experience, their opinion about a movie, book, or news event, or to share highlights from their weekend or vacation. By digging deeper and actively listening, you'll turn forgettable interactions into memorable exchanges, enhancing your connections both professionally and personally. Part 5. Avoid awkward silences by using creative questions and reading your surroundings. We've all experienced that uncomfortable feeling, the dreaded awkward silence creeping into a conversation and stalling all momentum. Often, we sit there hoping our counterpart will break the tension first, but we risk losing the connection entirely by waiting passively. Rather than leaving your conversations to chance, why not take responsibility and skillfully steer the discussion back to smoother territory? When you feel a conversation losing steam, try introducing a fresh, open ended question to redirect and revitalize the interaction. Of course, coming up with clever questions on the spot can be challenging, especially if nervousness or pressure set in. Thankfully, there's a simple solution. Remember the handy acronym FORM: family, occupation, recreation, and miscellaneous. These 4 topics offer an easy reference to keep conversations engaging and lively. The first 3 categories are straightforward and help you naturally dive deeper into a person's background and interests. For example, asking about someone's family traditions, how they enjoy spending their weekends, or what inspired them to pursue their current career opens the door to meaningful, enjoyable interactions. But the fourth category, miscellaneous, is your secret conversational weapon. It allows you to bring up more imaginative and unexpected topics, such as memorable trips they've taken, recent movies they've loved, or intriguing books they've been reading. You could even turn to a group you're with and casually ask how they originally met, instantly igniting fun memories and shared stories. But what happens if form questions don't quite fit your immediate conversation? Luckily, there's another great tactic to revive dialogue. Pay attention to the current environment and look carefully for clues right in your surroundings or in the person you're speaking with. Notice interesting features of the venue, comment on something particular in the decor, or highlight unique details about the event or activity itself. If you're attending a wedding, you might effortlessly strike up a conversation with someone nearby by gently asking about their connection to either couple. In all these scenarios, just remember, the true magic of conversational strength comes from authenticity and genuine curiosity. Of course, even with these powerful tools at your disposal, it's crucial to avoid certain conversational pitfalls. Topics like controversial political opinions and office gossip, or sharing negative news or personal misfortunes, can quickly sabotage an interaction, leaving others feeling uncomfortable. Additionally, be cautious when bringing up very specific personal details, such as someone's job position or the health of a family member, from prior meetings. Because life circumstances can change rapidly, overly detailed questions might accidentally open old wounds or uncomfortable topics. Instead, keep your questions general enough that the other person feels free to choose their comfort level and update you themselves. By mastering thoughtful questioning techniques, reading environmental clues, and knowing how to gently navigate away from conversational dangers, you'll find you can easily move through moments of awkward silence. In turn, conversation becomes a chance to build connection and trust, cultivating a social skill that enriches both your professional and personal life. Part 6. The secret to great conversations isn't talking, it's listening with intention. We've all been there. You're excitedly sharing a story, maybe about a weekend adventure or something interesting at work, and you suddenly notice the other person's eyes drifting, attention wandering, making it clear they're mentally already somewhere else. It's frustrating, even disheartening, and sometimes enough to discourage you from opening up again. Here's the truth. To create meaningful connections, good listening matters just as much, if not more, than good talking. No matter how clever your anecdotes might be, if your conversation partner doesn't feel genuinely listened to and appreciated, the conversation will fall flat. Becoming an effective conversationalist isn't just about guiding or carrying the conversation, it's about truly hearing, understanding, and responding to the person in front of you. And this skill goes beyond simply listening carefully. Your conversation partner has to feel heard. You show this by consciously adjusting your body language to indicate engagement. Small gestures matter enormously. For instance, leaning slightly forward, nodding gently, and smiling warmly all communicate active listening and genuine curiosity. Avoid crossing your arms defensively, slouching, or fidgeting restlessly. These can give off the opposite impression, signaling boredom or discomfort, even unintentionally. Eye contact is especially powerful. Holding someone's eyes without staring shows the speaker clearly, I am fully present, and I'm here for what you're saying. But active listening doesn't stop with body language. Your verbal cues play an equally important role. Simply repeating someone's words back to them isn't enough. The author shares a telling story of 8-year-old Nicholas, excitedly recounting his school day. He painted mountains, scored a touchdown, and ate delicious pizza. Mid-story, Nicholas realized his dad was absorbed in the newspaper instead of truly connecting. When challenged, his dad defensively repeated every detail Nicholas had shared, word for word. But Nicholas didn't need a summary. He wanted emotional engagement. He craved a genuine interaction. True listeners respond with authentic interest and empathy. Ask follow-up questions. Simple inquiries like, that sounds amazing. What happened next? Or, what did you think when that happened? Delve deeper into the storyteller's experience. Express genuine reactions, enthusiasm when someone is excited, encouragement when they're uncertain, empathy when they encounter challenges. Occasionally paraphrase key points to confirm you've understood their meaning, gently clarifying when needed. Another technique to showcase your attentive listening is to connect ideas thoughtfully. If you feel an organic connection to another topic based on what you've heard, gently bridge over, making it clear that what the person said inspired your shift. You mentioned you loved camping. That reminds me, did you ever hear about the new national park renovations? Such connections show genuine interest and naturally move conversations forward. In short, meaningful interactions flourish when others feel deeply appreciated and truly heard. So the next time you're talking with a friend, colleague, or loved one, remember, the real key to engaging memorable conversations isn't just finding the perfect words to say, it's becoming an intentional, attentive listener. Part 7. Knowing how to end a conversation gracefully is just as powerful as knowing how to start one. We've all experienced that tricky moment. No matter how enjoyable the conversation, sooner or later it comes time to say goodbye. Ending a chat awkwardly can overshadow even the warmest, most engaging interactions. Thankfully, saying goodbye doesn't have to be uncomfortable. When done right, it can deepen your connection and leave your conversational partner looking forward to their next interaction with you. So, how do you deftly close conversations without leaving anyone feeling slighted or ignored? First, genuinely acknowledge the best part of your chat. Highlight something particularly memorable or meaningful the other person mentioned, reinforcing the connection that you just created. For example, Sophia, it was so great getting your insights about the healthcare industry's changes. I really enjoyed our talk. This simple gesture helps people feel appreciated and respected. If you genuinely like to reconnect in future, now's the time to say so clearly. Simply ask if you can trade contact details or arrange to meet again, letting them know your invitation is sincere. Taking the initiative here is key. Even a simple, "Can we swap emails?" "I'd love to continue this discussion," sets a thoughtful and proactive tone. Once you've politely initiated a follow-up, or if you're ready to politely end things, clearly state your next action. Then, warmly shake hands or exchange a friendly nod. "It was wonderful talking to you, Jordan. I'm going to catch the next talk, but hope to catch up again soon." Crucially, make sure the action you mention is sincere. You don't want to say you're headed somewhere, only to linger nearby chatting with someone else. This unintended act can make your original conversation partner question your sincerity, undermining the goodwill you've built. Another elegant way to wrap things up is by helping your acquaintance expand their own network. If someone new happens to join your circle, introduce them warmly before graciously excusing yourself. "Have you met Carla yet? She's a fellow engineer. You two might have a lot to talk about. I'll leave you to get acquainted." Not only does this approach smoothly pave your exit, it also positions you as thoughtful and generous, genuinely interested in your companion's well-being. Finally, remember, you can even align your exits with your own networking goals. Let's say you're seeking job opportunities as a designer. You might tactfully explain your purpose. "I've really enjoyed our chat. By the way, I'm actually on the lookout for new opportunities in design. Would you know anyone I should talk to?" If so, wonderful. Your conversation partner may offer helpful advice or even make introductions. And if they don't have leads, they'll understand your need to move on. People typically recognize and respect honesty. Instead of resenting your departure, they'll admire your polite and purposeful approach. In short, ending conversations graciously not only lets you maintain the positive energy of the interaction, it's also a chance to strengthen relationships and leave a positive impression. You carefully started the conversation. Now give just as much care and warmth to wrapping it up. Final summary. Small talk often carries an unfair reputation as superficial or unnecessary chatter. But in reality, it is the essential first step toward meaningful connections. Great relationships, career opportunities, and lasting memories often start with simple, casual conversations. You aren't born knowing how to master small talk. The good news is that it's a learnable skill anyone can develop. Instead of waiting nervously for others to approach, build your confidence by proactively starting conversations yourself. Offer a friendly smile and be the person to extend that first handshake. Once you've introduced yourself, steer the conversation skillfully by asking thoughtful, open ended questions that encourage genuine dialogue. Take the initiative, warmly guide the interaction, and make the other person feel welcomed and valued. If a pause ever threatens to interrupt your flow, lean on creative questions or scan your surroundings for natural talking points. With practice, you'll find ways to smoothly lead the conversation forward. Above all, remember listening carefully is truly the heart of effective communication. Show your sincere engagement by responding thoughtfully, nodding gently, and using body language that tells others their words matter. Your careful listening will create meaningful connections that leave lasting positive impressions. Finally, when it comes to ending conversations, do it graciously and respectfully. Summarize something meaningful from your talk, authentically offer to stay in touch, or introduce your new acquaintance to someone else, ensuring that your interactions conclude warmly and memorably. In short, small talk isn't trivial, it's your stepping stone to richer relationships, deeper connections, and greater opportunities. Take the lead, stay genuinely curious, and listen closely. You'll quickly find yourself embodying the charm, warmth, and social confidence it takes to succeed personally and professionally. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.